and salutations, and welcome to the Rant Squad. I am the Water Dog. This is
Clint Jordan.
This is
Menard.
and we're going to give you our playoff picks for the wild card weekend, brother. Playoff picks for the wild card weekend, and we're going to start with the good old home brew. We got the Chargers at the Texans. Clint, who you got? Chargers. At
Well,
the
as
Texans.
our regular season victor for the pick'ems, just had to shake
Throw
that
that
out
in
there.
there?
Just throw it out there. I think Houston's just too banged up. I think the Chargers are playing really good football. I think they're playing physical football. I was really hoping we would play the Steelers because I actually like the matchup a lot better for Houston to play the Steelers. But I think the Chargers, Herbert, this second half of the year, they've really had to lean on him a little bit more in the passing game with the injuries to J.K. Dobbins. But now they've got a well-oiled machine. They're running the ball fine. Quentin Johnson looks good. Lad McConkey looks good. Herbert looks good. That team is focused. And I think they're ready, and I think the Chargers will end up pulling through.
Okay. I agree with the Chargers. I think the Texans right now they're just not fully loaded right now. I think the offensive line is just in shambles. They're just not playing good up front, and this is the game, especially when you get into the playoffs, where you're going to have to win in the trenches. And I think the Chargers defense.
Oh yeah,
it's just the defense. It's just much better than what the Texans have up front, and so I think that's where the game's going to be won and lost. Is going to be right there. And so I got to go with the Chargers myself. Brandon, who you got? He's picking Texans.
I know we don't pick the spread, but the Texans are a 2.5 point favorite.
really?
Okay, so when I look at this, I figured if I gave the Chargers 2.5 points or 3, do they win? And I said no. Because I think in Houston, this is it. If I need one victory this year in this pick'ems, okay, because y'all both are going against me, we got to try to win something here. But I do think Houston's going to win this game. There's something that tells me everybody's got down and out. They're hurt. They're on their third receiver. They're on this. It's just one of those feelings. That defense, I think, is going to play a really big part in it. And
Well, this is the round where usually the upset takes place. It usually doesn't take place in the divisional or in the conference championship. If there's an upset, it usually takes place right here in the wild card weekend, and most of these games are typically closer than they are in the other rounds.
Yep.
And so if there's a potential for something crazy to happen, it's usually going to be during this time.
And so I just have that gut feeling for 50% of this season. It's been wrong, but hopefully this week it's right. And give me the Texans.
All right. Next one. Another rematch. Here we go. Third time this season. We got Steelers and Ravens.
I've just got to go with the Ravens right now. The Steelers, they've really faltered. I think they've lost 4 of their last 5, something like that. Now, don't get me wrong. If there's a coach that can get his team ready, it's Tomlin. And I want to say, do we see if one of these coaches is going to go one and done for the second, or not the second year in a row? But you get my point. Is there some hot seat between Tomlin and Harbaugh, the loser? I mean, it's. I agree with you. Somebody brought it up, and so I thought it was an interesting thought. But
should there be? I would say that both those guys have been there, tenured wise for a long
they both
time.
got a Super Bowl.
It's just so hard to find
A good coach.
a really, really good coach. But not only that, to catch lightning in the bottle. Usually speaking, it only happens one year. How many times have we seen these coaches come in one year? They do really, really good with the team, and then the next couple of years, it just falls flat. It's happened with Dayball over there. We saw the same thing over in Chicago. We're looking at it all over the place in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you've got the head, and so it's just been a catastrophe.
I just thought, but I think the Steelers are just not playing good enough right now. Their running game is in shambles. I think the Ravens. Physical, they're going to win.
I think to Clint's comment there, I think the one thing that will stop that is the franchises themselves. I think those are just 2 franchises. They're not turning over coaches. The Steelers have proven that. 3 coaches since 1968.
But there's it's one of the reasons why they've stayed consistent winners too.
Yeah.
And
I think the Ravens are kind of taking that out of their book. Because if I'm not mistaken, they've only had 2 coaches as the Baltimore Ravens. Correct?
Yeah, what's his name? And then Harbaugh.
So I think that they're kind of taking that Steeler mold of just, hey, we're going to go with them. Because it's hard to make the playoffs sometimes. And so we at least make it. We got a good team.
Yeah, but that's one of the downsides too. Is are you satisfied just making the playoffs? And that's kind of where the Steelers have been.
So I heard at work on the radio a couple weeks ago, they were talking about these playoff teams and the push, and they said that it's kind of like high school. A lot of girls want to be popular, but how many of them want to be prom queen? And that's a very big different thing. If you just want to be popular, which is what some of these teams want, and then you got your prom queens, which is your Kansas City Chiefs, and those teams like that actively go get it.
Well, you're also in the era of coming out of Tom Brady into Patrick Mahomes. So, you know, we're looking at two historically great quarterbacks in franchises, and typically speaking, that's the difference. Now, the Steelers got lucky because they had Ben Roethlisberger, and he was able to squeeze 2 Super Bowl victories, but they have not been able to do that since he's left. Okay, the same thing with the Ravens. The Ravens, you know, they've been able to, you know, get themselves a couple of Super Bowls during the same era, you know, but they have not been able to reach that, you know, since
12 years.
You know, since the last one that they got with Flacco. So it's been a while for those two franchises, and so I think the Ravens have their quarterback.
Yes.
Okay, the Steelers don't, and I think that's the difference in the two.
Fair enough.
Okay, and with that being said, I'm gonna take the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I love it.
And here's the reason why. Okay, number one, home field advantage means nothing in this series. Number two, if I had to take the coach who's best at scheming this game against this rivalry, it's Tomlin. Number three, Pickens is back. Okay, Warren and Harris are both a little bit more healthier now. The running game showed up this past week, and so I think defensively, the Steelers are much better defensively than the Ravens. And if there's anybody that can come up with a game plan to stop Lamar Jackson, it's Mike Tomlin. And I just think, you know, that's the sneaky peeky thing. You looked at a team that's lost 4 games, but they haven't quite lost the locker room. The thing I'm curious to see is if Justin Fields has plays designed for him for this particular game. And that's a possibility. But you know what? That's my sneaky peek in the playoffs. I'm taking the Steelers. Brendan?
Oh, I hate that you're 0-2. So give me the Baltimore Ravens solely because I don't trust Russell Wilson in this game. I think the Ravens are at full firepower right now. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a really big game in this postseason. And especially in a game like this, I think Derrick Henry's going to have a really good game. I agree with you. Home field advantage really doesn't play a factor in this game as much. But I think the Ravens, you know, like I said, we don't pick the spread, but Vegas got them -10. They know something. So I'm just Russell Wilson to me. It just in that last game against Cincinnati, it looked just like he was just running around. He was just a little lost on some of them plays. And Pickens keeps dropping balls. How many balls do you think Pickens drops in this game?
None.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Bold.
You bringing in some stickum from Blitniclaw?
I'm just bringing in confidence. I just think that after 4 games like that, they're in the playoffs. And here's the thing too: only one of those games that they've lost the last 4 games were one game where they were completely out of it. The other 3 games they were playing right up to the wire.
With the playoffs, you got to win close games.
And typically speaking, before that streak, they were winning those close games.
That's before, but it's not how you start; it's how you finish.
And so we got a whole new starting point. That's the great thing about the playoffs. It all starts all over again. My team, the New York Giants, lost the last game of the season and ended up sweeping the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl.
I remember it.
So it's not like it's out of the picture, brother.
You're right.
Okay. Both of these teams can win until next week.
You get that. That's what I'm saying. The wild card weekend makes things crazy because sometimes you get that team that wins that wild card game, and all of a sudden that's all it takes to propel them to get it going, and that's what it
Packers,
takes.
Giants.
You know, we've seen it happen too many times. Yep. All right, Broncos at the Bills. Clint?
So this was the game that I wrote down as my sneaky game. I'm still taking Buffalo, but I got this, man, I'm gonna call it now. I got this weird feeling that the Broncos are gonna come in there and they're just gonna play really well and they're gonna shock, and this might be the upset of the weekend. I don't know why. When I was doing it today, I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, man, I just got this gut feeling. So I'm still gonna take the Bills, but this is the one that of every game. I know I said I was more excited for the NFC, but this is the AFC game I just want to win.
I agree with you in the sense that of all the teams that get smashed up against the Bills in the wild card weekend, why did it have to be the Broncos? Because the Broncos just have so many things that could cause problems for the Bills.
Yes.
And
yes. They have their.
And the thing about it is too that I just don't think people are really catching just how good that Broncos defense is.
Mm-hmm.
And the Broncos defense can stop the run. And so that to me is a tricky situation. But I just think Josh Allen's on a mission. And I think that's the thing that's going to separate it. The thing that's going to separate it is going to be the quarterback play, and it's going to be Josh Allen. He's going to be hard to get out this year.
He's on a mission.
There's just certain players. It's like I think Jalen Hurts, for example, Philadelphia. I've talked about that before. There's certain players when you watch them and you listen to them talk in the press conferences and you look at them in the eye, that there's certain players that are on a mission. Josh Allen is one of them. Jalen Hurts is another one. Jared Goff is the third one to me. Those are the three quarterbacks. And when I sit there and I watch it, I go, man, I don't want to play against those guys. They scare me. and Josh Allen scares me right now. It's got to be the Bills.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Josh Allen's really scary. I think it kind of parallels with that Manning-Brady era. And I think he's going to have to go to Kansas City and beat them this year. But give me the Bills to win this game. I think the Broncos are really good. It's going to be the Bills. I think the quarterback, Josh Allen has really just willed this team to victory so many times. I think at home in the playoffs, you have a rookie quarterback on the other side, which generally is not very favorable. We kind of learned that, and what's it? They're -9, and I just kind of learned these guys know a lot more than we do apparently. So give me the Bills to win this game.
All righty. Packers and Eagles, Clint.
Do you remember what happened about 7 years ago when you had the elite Eagles team that was like one of the best teams in the regular season, and they went into the playoffs without their starting quarterback?
What year was that?
That was 2017. They went on to win the Super Bowl. Hurts is not a guaranteed to play. Jordan Love's not a guaranteed to play. Both these teams are coming in banged up, but if there's one team that has shown that they can play, and they can play well with the backup quarterback, it's the Eagles. The Packers also don't have Christian Watson. I'm going to roll with Philly. I'm scared because when you don't have your quarterback, it can be scary. But Saquon, if he's the MVP, this is a game he's got to take over. That offensive line has got to say, hey, we're putting this on our backs and we're going to get the win.
What's the spread on this one, Mr. Brandon?
-4.
We're going to win by double digits.
Yeah.
They're going to win.
Wow.
I think Philly's good. I think Jalen Hurts will be in protocol till Thursday.
Okay.
Or something he's going to play in this game. I'm taking Philly. Yeah.
All right. Rock
Because I think if anything, they are on a team that you can take the quarterback out of it, and Barkley, you could roll with that. They have the receivers that you can just dink and dunk. They go 5 yards. They just have more offensive firepower, I think, than the Packers do.
They just win the line of scrimmage.
They
right
do.
now, if you're talking
on both
about,
sides of the ball.
Yeah, if you're talking about who's got the best line of scrimmage players, offense and defensively, in the league, it's Philadelphia. I just don't think there's any doubt about it. I'm just talking about, right there in the trench, and that's usually where these games are won, is going to be in the trenches. And I just think that they win the trenches more than anybody else. So that's why I'm saying double digits. Commanders and Buccaneers.
I'm going with the Commanders. I don't know why. I looked at this game and I like Baker. I like everything he's done. But Jaden Daniels, he's playing good football. The Texans got a win with a rookie last year. I think this is the rookie that gets a win this year.
Okay. My personal MVP of the year is, of course, Baker Mayfield. And if there was a way that he could win the MVP this year, it would make me very happy. I think the Buccaneers are going to win. I just think that this is a team, if you're looking at what they're playing and how they're playing right now, I just think they're a tough out. And the nice thing is they're playing at home. So I think that's the big advantage that they've got over the Commanders at this point. They're playing at home, and the Buccaneers have the better quarterback, and that's Baker Mayfield. And a lot of times it comes down to these situations, especially with teams that are built the way that these two teams are. You're playing at home, who's got the better quarterback? The Buccaneers have the better quarterback. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I think in this game, I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I think it's going to be a really competitive game. I think once it comes down to the rookie quarterback, which I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a really good game. I think Tampa Bay's ability to run the football very effectively. They have Mike Evans. They're at home. Baker Mayfield, they've beaten so many teams by just gunslinging, throwing up so many points. Give me Tampa Bay to win this.
All righty. Probably the toughest matchup to pick, Vikings and the Rams.
So I agree with you. And I have a rule. And there's a guy, his name's Colin Cowherd. And he does. He has a fun playoff bracket he does every year, and he picks it just based on quarterback. That's what he does. And I looked at this game, and I wasn't even worried about the home and away because LA, their home games, they're never very, very impressive. So I looked at the Vikings and the Rams, and I just said, who's got the better quarterback? If I was picking right now, I need a game, or I need a playoff series. Who's got the better quarterback? Matthew Stafford to me is still the better quarterback, and that's why I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams to win.
Okay, you said everything I wanted to say.
Really? Oh, I love it.
I mean, I agree. This is a game that's going to come down to quarterback play here at the end because both teams have all the playmakers. They both got great wide receivers. They both got some good defensive players. I do think that the Rams' defense is better than the Vikings' defense, although I do think that the Vikings have plenty of good defensive playmakers. I do think that Flores is a better defensive coordinator, so I think they have that going for them for the Vikings. But once again, you've got to look at it. It's home field. Who's got the better quarterback? Rams.
So when I wrote this down, kind of when we came in today, I put Minnesota on here, and I'm still going to go with them. I'm not going to flip. I'm going to pick the Vikings. I just worry that that shot that they took in the mouth, if it's going to demoralize.
How does it
them.
affect them?
But because if they bounce back strong from it, it could be positive.
They have responded after every loss.
So
if you go back and look, they have responded after every loss.
And so, give me Minnesota to win this game. This is going to be a game I'm going to want to watch.
I agree. Every one of these, a lot of exciting games this weekend.
I do agree Stafford is the better quarterback between the two of them, but I just got the Vikings have been good all year, and I understand it's getting hot at the end. You know what I mean? But I got faith that they got one more win in them.
Well, I think that the Vikings have been healthier than most teams all year,
yes,
which helps them. The Rams right now are the healthiest they've ever been.
Since their Super Bowl win.
And so I think that that's going to be an upside for them because, brother. Let's do it. Gang, it's all we got time for. Enjoy the playoffs. It's been the Rant Squad. I'm the Water Dog. This is.
Jordan.
This is.
Menard.
Gang, we are out of here.